All right, everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new decade, 2020. Before I can really make any goals for 2020 and 2020 to 2030, I feel like I have to kind of reflect for a moment on where I was in 2019 and where I've been total in my strength training, we'll call it a career. I've really only been training for couple years, so 2015 is probably when I first started to really kind of focus on strength training. It wasn't until 2016 that I actually ended up getting a garage gym, but in 2015 I really started kind of focusing on the squat, and it was very starting strength minded. I read the book. I thought it was great. I learned a lot. I discovered a lot about myself, and I also discovered that I really enjoy strength training. So I did kind of powerlifting type, starting strength, 3x5 for a long time. Eventually I got my own squat rack because what I found is that I lived so far away from the base when I was in Ohio that it was really inconvenient to go and do any extra training sessions because it was so far away. I lived like a half hour away. I know it's first world problems, I gotta travel a half hour to a gym, but I lived next to Rogue when I was stationed in Ohio, so why not start to take advantage of that? So started building the home gym. I remember when I kind of transitioned, not transitioned fully, but started transitioning from 3x5 starting strength linear progression, and I started going more towards the Alan Thrall channel back when it was brand new. And I liked a lot of what he did. He was very strongman oriented. I thought that there was a lot of functionality to strongman. And so I followed that for a little while. I bought one of his Untamed programs. I can't remember even what it was called. It's very powerlifting centric, but there was some strongman stuff thrown in there. After I did that for a while, Alan Thrall did a collaboration with Brian Alsruhe. Brian Alsruhe had the mindset that I thought I wanted to have. So I reached out to Brian and we did some programming, some online stuff, and I fell in love with strongman. Eventually working up to my first competition, which was in 2017, and that was a United States strongman competition. I did well. I won the novice class, which is not that big of a deal in retrospect. There were only 3 of us that were competing. I'm just the one that did the best that day. I actually had a couple blunders. Maybe I'll throw those videos in here. But I had a couple blunders that kind of like were awakening for me. Now mind you, that first competition was in the rain. There was a whole bunch of stuff going on with it. But I remember falling with the keg because it was just soaking wet and I had no grip. After I fell at the keg, like couldn't get a grip on the frame because when I fell with my hands down, and when I got back up, I just couldn't. I didn't bring chalk with me, learning point right there. If you're doing a medley, tuck a little bit of chalk in your knee sleeve or something. But anyways, first competition went well. Immediately signed up for my second competition, trained for that. I actually competed next to Steve Slater, which was really cool. I've looked up to Steve for a while, just because I lived in Ohio, he's Lancaster, it's just up the road. I eventually, in 2018, April specifically, ended up moving down to Wichita Falls, Texas. And I remember when I got here, I wanted to get my starting strength coach credential. I wanted to do all of this starting strength coaching, which I didn't do. I haven't done so far. But what I did find was Chrono Strength. And Chrono Strength is unique because my neighbor saw me unpacking what you're seeing here, this gym here. Now mind you, there's a couple things I bought since I've been here, but basically saw me unpacking and was like, oh, do you know who Mike Battolino is? And I had listened to the Starting Strongman podcast with Cale Beck and Mike Battolino. And I was like, yeah, I actually do know who Mike Battolino is. I was like, sort of. I was like, I know that he has a gym called Chrono Strength, but that's really all I know about him. Turns out Mike Battolino lives in Wichita Falls, Texas. So I got linked up with Mike, joined Team Kronos pretty much right after I got here. So I competed in my first strongman show here, and got like third or second. It was just a local, not even an affiliated meet. It was fun. After that, the rest of the guys went and competed at Oklahoma Strongest Man 2018, which I did not participate in, which kind of brings us up to 2019. And in 2019, I competed in 2 shows. I was going to compete in 3. I should have competed in 3, but I only did 2. I did the Elysian Fields competition, which was back in, I think, April or May, or it was earlier in the year. And I won that competition, which was really cool because it was a very close competition. And then I competed at Oklahoma Strongest Man, and I got 3rd in my class. I want to say there was 6 athletes at Oklahoma's for the 200-pound weight class. In fact, kind of rewinding a little bit, I had shoulder surgery this year, and doing all right now. I'm about 8 weeks out from surgery, like 8 weeks after surgery. But I'm going to go ahead and just call it out and just blame. I'm guessing that running dismount operations in Afghanistan is probably what tore my shoulder up. There were a couple incidents that occurred that probably weren't the best for me, but it doesn't really matter because I remember getting back and I complained about my shoulder, and the military healthcare system was like, oh, it's tendonitis, and gave me Motrin. And I got here and my doctor said otherwise, got an MRI. Turns out I had a torn labrum that extended all the way to the bicep tendon, like a really big tear. And then a really big tear, 2 centimeter by 2 centimeter on the rotator cuff tendon, one of those tendons. So I got that repaired over in Dallas, and I was in a sling for 6 weeks solid, like really 6 weeks solid. And just now I can kind of, like, this is my strike zone, so I'm allowed to work in my strike zone. I probably shouldn't be drinking from this heavy coffee cup outside of my strike zone, but whatever. But that kind of brings us up to now. So right now I'm essentially injured, coming back from a surgery, and I'm looking at 2020 and I'm trying to figure out, so where do I want to be at the end of 2020? Where do I want to be in my future? I definitely know a couple things. One, I love competing in strongman. I love training strongman. I want to get back into strongman, specifically some of the overhead stuff, as soon as possible. Obviously right now I can't do that, responsibly at least. And so I'm pacing it, I'm taking it slow, and I'm doing my physical therapy. But I just want to get back to the training. The training would be great. If I can hit one competition in 2019, that'd be even better. I understand that I'm probably not going to do well, but I love the environment of a strongman competition. I just love the fact that the person that you're literally battling for first place is usually sitting right next to you as it's your turn to go, and they're yelling for you to go and like do better. Like in that moment, it doesn't matter that they're your competition. What matters is that you're out there doing something that you love. So I want to get back to that, maybe a competition in 2019. But I'm also looking at the shoulder injury as a kind of a silver lining here. Like I have an opportunity now to go back from zero, rebuild my overhead movements, my overhead press, my jerk, my push press. I have an opportunity now where I'm coming back from zero strength. And so I'll have the ability to hopefully drive home maybe some better form, maybe some better pointers. It's one thing to know when you're maybe not doing that well on an overhead movement, but it's another thing to actually put that into practice, especially if it's a maximal effort set. So for 2020, what I want you guys to look for is you're going to see a lot more of my physical therapy, the exercise that I have to do. The reason I'm going to start videoing those more is because I'm going to be really honest, I don't do them as often as I should. I do them, but not as often as I should. So I'm going to start posting more of those videos. It's just another accountability piece for me. The second thing I'm going to start doing is start looking at competitions maybe later in the year. Maybe something that'll qualify me for 2020 Nationals or 2021 Nationals. I can't remember how the timing works with United States Strongman. But I'd love to get to Nationals, not this coming year, but the year after. So maybe start looking for a USS sanctioned show. around. The other thing I want you guys to be watching for is I really want to focus on this YouTube channel a little bit more. And I enjoy doing the reviews on equipment. I enjoy doing the weekly roll-ups. I enjoy showing you some of the DIY stuff, and there's some more DIY stuff that's coming up in the future. And if you guys have things that you want to see, post them down below. I'm very open to ideas. I'm really trying to hit some of this newer equipment that's coming out, and I'm trying to switch from more of the premium line, because it seems like a lot of the big channels that do equipment reviews, they're reviewing $900 trap bars, and that's just not realistic for most garage gym owners. So I'm trying to focus a little bit more on the economy side. I'm very critical of equipment. I like to think that I give good reviews. But yeah, hopefully be able to concentrate on this channel and maybe see if I can grow this channel a little bit more. But that's it. So for 2020, look for those things. Going forward, I want to qualify for nationals 2021, 22, 23, 24, 25. Continue basically progressing through my strongman career, hopefully healthy, hopefully learning a lot. I also want to start focusing. I'd love to get a CSCS certification. I don't necessarily want to be a hireable coach, but I would love to have the knowledge so that I can actually go and help people, either as I meet them or if I approach somebody and I want to coach them, and being able to fall back on that certification is like, hey, well, I do have this piece of paper that says I sort of know what I'm talking about. But maybe looking at something like that, that'll be like maybe a two-year thing. We'll see what work allows. We'll see maybe if I can get work to pay for it. But that's it. So I appreciate you guys watching this video. I appreciate you watching me make coffee in the morning. I appreciate all of you, especially those of you that leave comments down below. I know there's a couple of you that the moment that I post a video, you're like right there. And I love the interaction, so keep it up. One last goal before I let you guys go is I need to come off with some sort of send-off, some sort of line, tagline, something unique. Because right now all I'm saying is, I'll see you next time. But because it's all I got right now, I appreciate all of you, and I appreciate what you do, and I appreciate the strength training community. And I'll see you next time.